Recording has started.
Good morning, everybody. At 8:04, we're going to call to order the Prison Board of Inspectors for May 14th, Thursday. First, we're going to establish a quorum. I see myself, Mike Pipe, on the line. Commissioner Dersham, are you there?
I am indeed.
Okay, thank you. Judge Oliver, are you here?
I am.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
And Controller Jason.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, great. All right, so we have 4 members of the prison board here. If others join, we'll recognize them when they come. We're going to first welcome a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting in April.
So moved.
Or second, whichever works.
All right, it's been moved by Controller Jason Moser, seconded by Commissioner Dersham. Any further discussion on the minutes?
Don't bother me. Sorry.
None.
Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we'll open it up at this point for any public comment for items not appearing on the agenda. If anybody would have we'll take it and we'll do it as orderly as possible. But any comments, Kathy, Connie, Janet, I think that's everybody from the public. Any comments at this time?
Yes.
No.
Okay. All right, seeing none. When an item is under consideration, as you know, you can feel free to make your voice heard. All right, we're going to move on to our monthly reports, and we're going to turn it. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everybody. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just starting off with
Yes.
our Center County Mental Health with Amy. April 19, she's seen 78. April 20, she only seen 10. Dr. Wolf from Crossroad Counseling is still suspended at this point. Our work release, community reentry working, centerpiece and work release is suspended at this point. We had 0 for maintenance working down in the Willowbank and the courthouse, and on the grounds we have two individuals. Just looking at our snapshot of Friday, April 30th, 2020, for Center County population, our count was at 153. 75 of those were Center County inmates or returning citizens, 11 females, 64 males. Unsentenced was a 72% population. At 54, 8 females, 46 males. County sentence was at 27%. That's a total of 20, 3 females, 17 males. We had 1 sentenced to state. That was 1 male. Tentative county population was a total of 78, 24 females, 54 males. Unsentenced was 45% of the population, which was 35, 13 females, 22 males. County sentence was a total of 42, equaling 54%. 10 females, 32 males. We had state sentence, that was 1 female. Just looking at the month of April 2020 with our population for the full 30 days from April 1 to the 30th, if you look on the chart there, we started off with 115 Center County, 104 Tentative County, where we ended out in 30 days where we were 78 and 75. I'm trying to look at my notes here. Our lowest inmate population that I looked up was 2005 in August. Our ADP was 147.06. September of the same year, 2005, was 157.83. And October is when we start reaching up to 168. In 2007 of July, we reached another low of 178.8. Even though that's a little higher than the other ones, that was our lowest count since 2005 opening this newer correctional facility here. Returning citizen services report, behavior modification status. We have tier 1, 5, tier 4, 22. Co-occurring disorders, since it's been a year since we've been calculating that, so April 19, we had 18 individuals come in. April 20, we had 6 out of 18 intakes. It was 33.33%, all on medication. Out of that 6, 3 was from center, 2 males, 1 females, and 3 from those other counties, 2 males, 1 female. Suicide watch, a year ago we had 26 on suicide watch. This year we had 3, 1 from center, it was 1 female, and 2 from out of county. That was 2 males. Detoxing, we had 1 out of that number, that was 1 from center. Detoxing number a year ago, April 19, or 2019 was 54. This year we had 4, 3 males, 1 female, 2 from center, 1 male, 1 female, and 2 from out of county at that point. Our substance detox number, we had nobody come in on heroin, opiates, and benzoid. We had alcohol, 2, 1 from center, 1 from another county. And our multiple cocktail there, we have 1 for heroin and benzo from center and 1 heroin and alcohol from other county, 0 coming off meth. Our facility initiated medical assistant treatment program, FIMAT. We have not had anybody this past month. Inmates received second injection prior to release is 24, second injection prior to release is 15, and we continue to struggle trying to get the numbers of people who continue their treatments up afterwards. We only have 7 follow-up shots. On the page 9, our prime care report. Inmate hospitals, we had 1 for a total 1 day for a Caesars detox. Our COVID-19 testing results, our returning citizen testings, we had 6 positives. That was the 6 females. That was in that small unit. And then we had 13 negatives, and we have none pending at this point. Our mental health patients and psychotropic medication, all returning citizens that were on psychotropic medication for the entire month of April. A year ago, it was 140. It was 59.1%. Our ADP was 239. April 2020 was 152, 82.6%. Our ADP at that point was 184. Number of patient that has mental health illness. This is a snapshot from May 5th. A total 114 out of 184 ADP. Category C a year ago was 23 at 59%. Category D was 28 at 11.8% of our population. 2020 we had 91 individuals on category C at 49.5%, and category D 23 at 12.5%. Inmate grievance report for the month of April, we had 22. A year ago we had 20. We had 2 non-grievable. Non-grievable found it was 0, 5 grievable, 0 found it. We had 2 appealed to the deputy wardens, first appeal, 0 amended. 1 was appealed to my level, the second appeal level, as 1, 0 amended. We refused 15 for multiple reasons. Sometimes he put in multiple grievances on the same topic, just rewriting the subject matter, which is not permitted within the institution. Prison monthly report, Central Booking Center, April, we had a total of bookings of 16. A year ago, we had 332. We're down to 316. We had 3 on 11 to 7, 5 on 7 to 3, and 5 on 311 shift. And that's it for the reports.
Okay, thank you, Warden. Any questions for the Warden on the monthly reports?
No, thank you. We're good.
I have a couple questions.
Oh, sure, Janet. We'll just see if any of the prison board members do, and then we can turn
Yep.
it over to you. Okay. Any other prison board members have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. It might be one that Janet's about to ask. Did I read properly that something like 82% of all citizens in the jail, the correctional facility, are on psychotropic medication?
That is correct.
has our number ever been anywhere near that before?
So that number is a snapshot of just one day. And now that we have released over 100 inmates, that number, the inmates that we released are more of the categories A and B. So C's and D's are on medications. So yes, that number for our ADP versus the C's and D's who were not released, yes, that number is high.
All right. Thanks.
Sure.
And staying with the mental health theme, Chris, if you could go to that first slide that showed the some of the counseling that we had to cancel. You know, one of the steps that you took early on was to, and we've seen it across SCIs and county facilities across the state, where they've suspended in-person classes just because we didn't want to have as many people coming into the facility. But now that we know that we're going to be in this a little bit longer with no visitation, ways that we could potentially try to get Dr. Wolf and Crossroads to do some more health in terms of connecting them. Can we look into that, or other ways that we could try to get more mental health in the facility?
Yeah, we can look into see if what we can do. RBA is going to have to get involved and see what that's all going to have to entail there. But they're going to have to be working with us and how we're going to be able to do it. And I know one thing is like Crossroads did mention about doing some things. However, we're not right now cross-contaminating any units with any other units. So we can't have B1 and A3 in the same room. And I'm not sure if even Dr. Wolf is even still working with since PSU's out. So we'd have to reach out to him and see if he's even checking his emails, which I think he probably is. But we can reach out to him and see if he's working and doing anything there. But with Crossroads, I know we've talked about it. We're going to have to do something with a Wi-Fi and a laptop or video and so forth. So I mean, that's something I have to talk with RBA. I guess Don's the new guy down there right now, or unless that has changed, or I'll get with Chad.
I know we have the tablets there that the returning citizens use and utilize. We don't know if that could maybe be used as a backbone to connect outside. But if not, if there's a way that they can use a platform where it's multiple individuals on it, much like this, I think it'd be helpful. And I know that's extra work, but in these times, especially with although we are reducing our population, and we're getting some of the individuals that we feel comfortable of the facility, but in terms of the population that we have there, I think having more mental health services and availability for that's going to be helpful in the long term. And I open that up to fellow prison board members as well to see if there's any thoughts on that, or get some feedback on that side of it.
I would suggest, I would agree. When you're seeing the numbers percentage-wise, like the way they have with psychotropic meds, I'm sure the general diagnosis is probably pretty high. So whatever we can do to provide those services, because being isolated is bad enough, but obviously with mental health concerns, that just amplifies the consideration we need to give.
Yeah, I agree with the other two commissioners. We're going to need to work with RBA and Dr. Wolf and Crossroads, but let's see if we can try to get the mental health services back close to what they were before, even if it is telehealth or some other method.
Yeah, sorry. I agree with that as well. I mean, I'm not surprised I guess, to see how skewed the numbers are right now, given the factors that have already been addressed. But whatever we can do to provide the support that the returning citizens need by way of mental health and any other programming, I would support.
Our mental
Okay.
health clinic, I know she's out and about 3 times a week in all the units, meeting with people numerous times, meeting with our severe mental health individuals more so, and doing different things. We're giving them we're giving them activities, trying to keep things pretty positive with those individuals. So, but I'll reach out to Dr. Wolf and I'll talk with Chad and RBA. And we'll get with Crossroads and see what we can do or accomplish and go forward on this.
Hey, Chris, this is Steve. Hey, one question I have is, do you have the capability of tapping into the TV video feeds in the pods from, not just broadcast TV, but if we want to provide other messaging or other information services to the inmates? Do we have that capability, or does that all have to go through like a Comcast line or whatever?
Well, that's something we've been trying to accomplish, and I haven't found anybody that's able to help me out because I've been trying to look into that to be able to do that. As you mentioned, broadcast things out to all the units and so forth. So I've been trying to find some individuals or some companies able to do that. However, I was working on it starting January, reaching out to some people. Then all of a sudden we hit the COVID debacle and so forth. So, I mean, I'm not sure if RBA could help me out with that. I'm not sure their capability of understanding, that much stuff or not. I'm not sure if they can. I can talk to Chad as well with that.
I think all that takes is a switch. I don't think it would be that difficult to do. And if we could get, even a live feed into the TV service, I think that might be a useful tool, particularly given these times where we can give updates as to what's going on to the inmates, and I think that would be a very helpful thing.
Okay. We still do weekly, Deputy Irwin or myself, or both of us, as well as Christy, the HSA here from Crime Care. We still do weekly walkabouts. We try to pull as many people that want to listen. We talk to them. We answer questions. We give them updates of what's going on inside the correctional facility, up to not playing our security issues, but or any security information. But we kind of go around once a week. It's usually on Thursdays or Fridays. We go around to every unit and talk with every inmate and talk with them about anything new with the COVID, what to look for and so forth and that. So we've been pretty transparent with that with the individuals.
That's really good.
And
I was just
similarly,
thinking,
Chris, with the,
go ahead, Michael.
go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just going to say,
Please, you go ahead.
If we could complement your efforts with that live feed, I just think it would be, particularly during these times, a little more comforting to the folks that are in the facility right now.
Okay, not a problem. Like I said, we'll work with that and try to work with RBA and if I need to, get Chad involved in.
I was going to say, Chris, similarly with Amy Miller at the MHID office, if it's possible to have her do video in addition to the in-person meetings, just because she was at 78 last year, she's at 10 last month, it would be beneficial if she could also connect in. And it seems like with the tablets, those video calls, she could be utilizing that platform to speak with the returning citizens, and we could give them credits on our side to be able to do that. So if you could just look into a whole host of those things, I think we would appreciate that. And if there are technical glitches and things that we need to work through or invest a little bit more funds in getting better Wi-Fi there or broadband, let us know. We can always consider that. But I think we're going to be in this for a lot longer than we thought. You and your team are doing yeoman's job under the circumstances and really working through it as much as possible and dealing with a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And we commend you for that. We're just, adding our support to additional services, but we thank you for all you're doing. Any other questions on or feedback on the mental health aspect or anything else in the monthly reports from any of the prison board members before we open it up to any public comment or questions?
Good.
Okay. And we do want to mention that our Commissioner Higgins has joined us. He joined us several minutes ago, and also District Attorney Bernie Cantorno also joined us several minutes ago as well. So we just want to note they have arrived as well. Okay, Janet, you had some questions that you wanted for Chris, so we'll turn the floor over to you.
Yeah, just to say, first of all, we're so grateful and impressed at all that the staff is doing. It's remarkable. And we can talk more about that later. But the questions that I have, am I to understand that when you say everybody, 100% of the people who are residents were on some kind of psych medication for the entire month of April, is that something different from the standard medication that they would be given because of whatever mental condition that they have?
It's only 82.6%, not 100%, but I can ask Christy about that. But usually individuals, they could be on melatonin, which has to help them sleep at night, which is actually,
I said it's rare that we do it, but there are people on it right now because of the situation.
Yeah, just melatonin is actually qualified underneath the psychotropic medication, which some people are at this time dealing with the COVID, not sure. We do have some of those on that. Not sure what the numbers are, breakdown on that is. But that kind of, with the COVID, it kind of jacked that up for people to be able to sleep a little bit better at night and so forth, so they're not up and having some anxiety attacks and so forth. So they are melatonin, which is kind of a minor psychotropic drug, but it just helps them be able to sleep at night.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, the numbers reflecting just a snapshot of a day, that 82%, and that just is based on the ADP of that day versus the number of people who are on psych medications. So that number looks extremely high right now, but when our numbers go back up for our ADP, that number is going to be a lot lower because those are the people that are not being released. That makes sense. So the people who were released were people who really weren't on medication. So our ADP is down, but our numbers for the categories C and D who are on stayed the same.
So I think I'm understanding that quite a bit of that increase has to do with the people in the population who were released, but some of it has to do with some medications that were given because of COVID-19, if I'm understanding Chris. So thank you. I'm getting that now. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Anything else?
I did have another question, and we've been I'm not claiming to be an expert, but we've been sort of trying to understand what's going on at county facilities around the state, and the number of unsentenced inmates who've been released in other counties is somewhat higher than in Center County, and I'm not sure that the prison board is the place to bring that up, but if you could shed any light on pretty much 72% unsentenced is the percentage that's pretty in line with what the percentage has always been prior to COVID-19. So has there been any attempt to look at unsentenced people as a population to release?
This is Melanie. We actually pretty much looked at everybody. We compared the lists separately, so the courts and the DA and the public defenders had all been doing their due diligence, but then we broke down lists and said, okay, these are the ones on the probation case specifically. These are the ones that are unsentenced. What is their bail? What are their charges? So each of those groups was kind of looked at independently and shot forward. So the courts and the DA and the public defender were great at working with us, but all those lists were prepared at different times and moved forward and all compared with the vulnerability list of who had high risk indicators.
So do you have, I don't expect you to necessarily know the answer to this, but why the percentage of unsentenced who are still in jail remains relatively high in Center County compared to other counties? Is it just a fluke, or you have an explanation?
No, I can't comment on how they made their final decisions. That would definitely be between those other agencies we spoke of as to who was able to be paroled or whose bail could be modified, all those sorts of things. They were individual decisions.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm good, thank you.
And off of that, Janet, if you look in your chat box on Blue Jeans, there's a link that we just sent out, and this is a compendium of some of the things that Chris and his team have been doing at the facility, specifically related to COVID-19 and the pandemic protocols. But at the bottom of it, there's a chart. There's two charts. And what it shows is it shows the population currently, and we actually just had it updated by our staff. And we went back and looked at it on March 23rd. That was the high point. We had about 236. That was the population that we had of the total facility. 236 on March 23rd of this year. And what we've been doing on a daily basis is putting in the numbers. The top chart shows just a pure release. So how many people have we released out of the facility? And then the chart below will show over those time frames. So since the 23rd of March, over the last 30 days, over the last 7 days, and then since the day before. So you'll notice it's a net amount. It's not a total amount, just because we have had some intakes. So those won't match. But from what I've seen, at least, and I think from what many of us seen, and we would be interested as well in seeing what other counties are doing. You feel free to send those over. But those numbers, in terms of a 93 being at 236, dropping by almost 100 to get to 143 of total population, it's a pretty, in terms of getting folks out in a smart way, a safe way, judicious way. But if there are other counties that are doing things differently, feel free to let us know, and we can take a look at those.
Thank you, Mike. So just to say that that dashboard that you all have put up, Center County is only one of 3 counties in the entire state that is being as transparent as you are. The other ones are Chester County and Allegheny County. And so that is a fantastic resource for people in the public. It's very reassuring. It's evidence of, tremendous amount of trust between the county and the larger population. And I very much appreciate the work in keeping that up to date every day.
Well, again, credit goes back to Chris, Melanie, Glenn, Jeff, the whole team there, in the work they're doing. So we would turn that compliment over to them, and I know that they certainly appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Janet, for your comments. Connie or Kathy, any questions at this point, comments before we move forward?
I was going to save my comments for the next item on the agenda.
And we will be sure to call on you when we get there. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to old business then, and Chris, we'll keep it with you.
All right, thank you. Just a little bit of update on our COVID-19. We're still doing additional cleaning and so forth. We're still doing temp checks twice a day, 3 times a day.
Twice a day for the facility, aside from anybody who is quarantined, whether it be an initial quarantine period or quarantine due to symptoms. Those individuals are 3 times a day.
So we're moving forward on that. We're looking to doing antibody testing with any new admit that came into the facility. The reason why we're looking at antibodies is it might reduce their time on quarantine. Right now, anybody who comes in our institution We do the medical checks and go through everything, and then they're placed on quarantine for 14 days. Upon no symptoms at that point, then they're released out of the quarantine area. So what we're looking doing, if the individual comes in with antibodies already of COVID-19 in their system, we'll be able to get them out of their quarantine in 72 hours, which is a lot better than 14 days. It will help their mental health capacity as well. So we're doing different things there. We're also looking at getting with Dr. Deb Kelly from Penn State to do some antibody testing on officers. It'll be voluntarily for the officers, just see if anybody that may have had it asymptomatic. So that's an avenue that we're looking to work out the details with Dr. Kelly at this point. We're doing, we're constantly, Director Height's constantly every week making different activity packets for every returning citizen in the facility. He takes care of that on Tuesdays. He kind of different things, Sudokus, crossword puzzles, adult coloring pictures, and so forth. He's been handing them out individually to all the returning citizens, as well as if they need any crayons or colors or markers or so forth. So we're trying to keep everybody kind of busy and keep their mind off the whole COVID-19 thing here. Any questions?
Okay. Yeah, prison board member, please weigh in if there's any questions or specific comments here.
No, it sounds like a pretty thorough protocol, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chris, and your team.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, Commissioner Higgins, could the inmates potentially use any new books or new DVDs or videos, sort of freshen up what's available?
We have, I'm going to estimate probably 1,000 books. That might be a little bit low in our storage closet that we do rotate throughout the housing units. So they do get to see different books. They rotate them once a month. Right now, our systems aren't set up to play videos through the TV, but we do have a portable cart that we have utilized. A local church provided us with some video of church services that we play on the units to those inmates who want to participate in that. And we've done some extra stuff in the quarantine units with videos for those inmates.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I didn't catch who all was on the call, if Mark Fraley was on the call or not. I'll give thanks to him and the church that he belongs to, Access. They've been pretty sound on giving us a CD every week, usually on Tuesdays, I think. And then we get it out to the housing units for the church services that Sunday. So I just want to thank Mark for helping us out with that.
Glad to do it. We'll have more coming.
Well, that's good. I was just hoping maybe we could freshen things up a little bit in case maybe for people who've been there for 6 months or more at this point, maybe they've read most of the books of interest to them. So possibly, if we have any funds available for that, I'd be happy to even help look for the books or something.
Yeah, I have a list. We did purchase several new books in late fall last year. Deb Hager, that came in, that did come in when we were doing it. She asked for some people were requesting specific books, so she gave me a list. So we already made it halfway down through the list because it was a 2-page list. So we can look into it. I'll talk with Brenda about looking at some prices for some of these other books that people are requesting, and we can look and purchasing those as well.
And Chris, the University Women's Book Sale was canceled this year, so I'm guessing they probably have a significant backlog and backstock of available titles. So I'm sure AAUW, whoever, can probably help us out if you're looking for books.
All right, thank you, Steve.
That's a great idea, Commissioner. Great idea. Oh, any Judge, Controller, District Attorney, any other comments before we open the floor to questions?
Not for me. I really like the idea of working with AAUW for books. That was a really good suggestion from Steve there.
None from me, thank you.
Okay, Connie, you had mentioned that you had a question. We'll turn it over to you.
Well, it's basically a comment. I'd like to commend Chris and his staff and the job they've done to maintain just the number of 6 infections in the facility is outstanding based on what's happening in other facilities. So I want to give them credit.
Thank you, Connie. I mean, one thing, I mean, you know, a lot of, we can sit back and look at what we maybe could have done or couldn't done, but I think maintaining our prison open with the individuals not being locked down like a lot of institutions have, that they went to 23 hours lock-in without an out, with being out an hour. I'm not saying it's right or wrong what their decisions are. I just feel that with our mental health population, it's not a safe and healthy environment for them. That's why we did not lock down. And you know, right now we hope we don't have to, if we can keep this at bay. I just worry about the mental health concept of the individuals by placing them in lockdown status. So that's one thing we're trying to do everything we can with maintaining, and that's why the administration's out and about in the units talking with the individuals, just making sure they're being clean units. We're making sure that we're using we have a fogger up here that fogs and disinfects everywhere. So we're using that almost every day. We're using that in different areas, cleaning things, cleaning the rec areas, cleaning the common areas in the units. You know, any of the cells that we have people in quarantine, we're fogging them units, those cells as well. So it's, you know, it's a team effort up here that we're all working together. And, you know, I got to admit, you know, Leonard Verbeck, I mean, he's a unique character. He's our maintenance guy up here, but I tell you, he's really keeps key on our cleaning supplies and making sure everybody has the cleaning supplies and so forth. So I got to give kudos to him to helping us out in that sense. So.
Thank you, Connie, for that comment. We surely appreciate that. Okay, any other questions, comments on the COVID-19 facility update before we move forward? Okay, thank you all. Hearing none, we're going to go to new business, and we have 2 revision to policies.
Yes, we have 2 policies. Statistical information reporting required by Title 37 of what we're certified by. They wanted us to add the definitions. So all we did was we took from the Title 37 the definitions and we added it to it. So that was really basic. 217, the medical services. We added protocols for returning citizens to carry their own inhalers. This is required by National Commissions on Correctional Health Care. So we just added that. We're actually doing what do we do? We're doing a test data collection. Yeah. We're doing a data collection right now. We only have 5 individuals that require to have them on their person. So it wasn't a large number, but it's actually additional help them instead of them having an asthma attack and not being able to use their own inhaler waiting on medical. So it's a positive thing, I think, up here. I mean, it was just a change with staff, but I think medical and all of administration agrees that they should have their inhalers on them. Just asking the board to approve both policies.
I make the
Thank you,
motion.
Chris. Any questions, comments on either of these policies?
I thought the
Is there a
policies
second?
were very well formatted, and I'd be happy to second Commissioner Dersham's motion.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions, comments before we look for a vote? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor of the revisions for both policies say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. Motion has been approved. All right, Chris. Let's see. Jumping back to the agenda here. Okay. We'll have our reports from Carrie, Janet, and Kathy, and we'll turn things over to Carrie. Good morning.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I just have two things I wanted to discuss. The first is last month on April 20th, I submitted a grant application to the Pennsylvania Commissioner on Crime and Delinquency on behalf of the commissioners. This grant really had three main parts. One was the potential for a new position at the correctional facility, mental health specialist, as well as the ORAS, which is a risk and needs system inventory that they can use, as well as we would get training for the probation department to utilize that tool as well. And then a new curriculum that the warden would like to implement at the facility. So overall, the grant application was for over $90,000 to implement those. We won't know if we're awarded until probably early fall. Initially, the start date was supposed to be October 1st, but I have a feeling that might be delayed in light of the current situation, but really worked with Chris and his staff to get some of the needs that we have discussed over the past several months into the application. So we're fingers crossed. We hope we get approved for that. And like I said, I'll let you know, let the board know when we hear word from PCCD. The other topic I wanted to bring up was our overdose stats. Currently for 2020, as of the end of April, we had 4 confirmed overdose deaths with 2 pending toxicology results. So we're definitely at an increase from last year because we held at 2 overdose deaths until August of 2019. Historically, we've kind of gone up and down. Each year we would have a higher year and then a lower year would follow. So this technically would be a little bit of a higher year for us. But I will say our numbers are significantly lower than other counties that are seeing an increase. Even our neighbor, Blair County, is seeing a jump in their overdose deaths, a lot of stemming from the current situation, people having to self-isolate, lack of supervision services, reduced supervision, and just a lot of factors going into that. So 4 and 2 is where we're currently at this point. Are there any questions?
I'd just like to thank Carrie for helping us with that grant for our positions and our programs and for ORAS risk and needs assessment. I thank her for doing all the legwork for us. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Well said, Chris. Yeah, that would be a huge deal, and we're really not that we're saying that we have an in or there are phone calls you can make, but the grant is a strong grant, and so thank you so much, Carrie, for doing that. It really is going to mean a lot positioning us well. So thank you very much. Any questions for Carrie or feedback, comments? Okay, hearing none. Prison Society, Janet, Connie, Mark, we'll turn it over to any of you for any feedback questions.
I'll turn it over to Mark and Connie. Just want to say that given the number of people who are being released, we're trying to step up our efforts to help with reentry. That's something that we feel is important, and we'll do what we can.
Hello?
Yes.
Just wanted to mention that as a chapter, we've nominated one of our members to be the Prison Society Volunteer of the Year. It was without question Kim Davidson that works on our group, and so I'm just asking if you see Kim or talk to Kim, you just congratulate her. And yeah, we're not sure. We usually have a banquet and an annual meeting and all the rest where she gets a plaque, and it's not going to happen this year. So anything you could do to help us congratulate her would be very appreciated.
Perhaps we can bring
Thank
her
you,
in.
Mark. Are you thinking about making? Oh, go ahead, Steve. Yep.
I was gonna say maybe sometime we can bring her into a commissioner meeting and gush on her a little bit once the dust settles here.
That would be very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
In
Thank you.
the interim, if you do anything on social media for her on your Prison Society chapter Facebook page, let us know. We have some good comments on there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you bet. Thanks, Mark. Connie, anything else?
Well, I'd just like to say that we're still concerned about being able to enter the facility to deliver the parenting classes. So as soon as we are able to do that, we're ready.
We
Thank
have
you,
you on
Connie,
board.
and I'm sure that. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, like I said, as soon as we're able to open it up, we'll open it up. We'll have your class in.
Okay. All right, and centerpiece, Kathy. We'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. We reopened on the 8th. It's been crazy. We really, really miss our guys because it's just a lot of work. But with all due respect, only 6 cases confirmed. I can't commend enough the job that's being done to keep everybody at the correctional facility safe. So we'll do the work. We're fine. Let's just keep everyone safe. I did, and I didn't want to say something at the time we were talking about it because I'm still trying to figure out when I can talk and when I don't. I don't want to get in trouble. But when you're talking about books, DVDs, Centerpiece obviously has DVDs. We will bring over anything that you want. We'll pull it off the floor and bring it over. So we have a ton of DVDs that we could bring over. You can go through them and deem whether they are appropriate or not, Chris. Your staff may. So if there's anything like that that you need, just reach out and we'll bring it. We don't really do books. We do turn to, and it's a fantastic suggestion, to go through the Women's Association for the books, the University Association. So we do have some that we could bring over. But if there are books that you are purchasing, if you let us know what you need, we have volunteers that will buy and donate. So you don't have to just tap into your budget. You can certainly let us know if there's anything that you need, and we will do what we can to take care of that for you. The other thing, and I had reached out to Chris and Lorinda about this, I work with the Restorative Justice Initiative, obviously, who teaches collegiate level courses within the correctional facilities. I think they're now in 4 different correctional facilities, which is fantastic. But there was an offer from them as far as technical support, equipment to do Zoom type classes or programming within the correctional facility. Chris automatically had a concern about security. You can speak more about that. But I just wanted to mention that if you're looking at technical needs to make certain things work, teleconferencing, whatever, for health needs, they might be a resource that can help because they've made that offer. So any more programming that we can get in there that we can present in a safe manner, such as Zoom, again, security issues have to be covered, but they are there to support and help whatever you might need. So, and the only other question I guess I have is, when do you deem it safe to release the returning citizens to either community reentry or to work release?
We're anticipating the first week of June. I didn't know if Lorinda got back to you. We talked on Monday or Tuesday. We talked about looking at beginning of June if everything is stable here within the institution and also in the community. The biggest thing is right now we only have, we looked at the other day, we only had 16 sentenced individuals. So I know I talked to Judge Ruess on Monday. We had a conversation, and I know there's going to be more people being sentenced and so forth. So I'm hoping our numbers come back up there for the sentenced individuals, that we have more to pull from. and then we'll go from there. But we'll keep you in trust because I know we have elections coming up on June 2nd, but we think the 31st is when we got to try to get individuals for the maintenance crew to take out the voting machines and so forth. So I know we're trying to work on that. So those individuals, once election's over, with outside clearance, will be moving into the community reentry as well as work release at that point.
That's fine. And you will do whatever you feel is best, and I couldn't endorse that enough. So that's certainly fine. We all have children that we have recruited. Thank gosh I have big, strong guys. So, but we're good. But thank you very much. And again, a tremendous job. Well done.
Thank you. And we will reach out to you for any videos that you have as well. So I might have to stop down.
Yeah, I'm happy to bring you over anything you need.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Kathy. We appreciate you and all the work you're doing. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to head into executive session. And before we do so, anything else that anybody wanted to bring up, again, prior to going into executive session for personnel matters?
Commissioner Higgins, I just wanted to repeat the theme that Chris, the deputy wardens, the entire staff at the Center County Correctional Facility has been doing a wonderful job under very trying circumstances.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. A great way to for us to go to executive session. Would there be a motion for us to go into executive session?
Motion to go to executive session.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Moved by Controller Moser, seconded by Commissioner Dersham. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. We're going to ask everybody who's not a prison board member or a part of our staff here at the facility and everybody else to jump off, please.
Just so everybody knows, this is Brian Sampson. I've been on